Welcome to FKC Health. I'm Frederick Krasey, and today I have with me an exercise physiologist, Jake Holness. Jake, tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
Thanks for having me, Freddie. So, as an exercise physiologist, I work with those with some chronic conditions. Usually, it's along the musculoskeletal pathway, so something to do with their muscles, their bones, their joints, if they're in a bit of pain associated with that. But also, that extends to a bit of cardiovascular health as well. So, the heart of your the health of your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, your body weight. A few of those little bits and pieces as well. But how I come to be an exercise physiologist, I'm actually only about 2 years been accredited as an exercise physiologist. My whole pathway leading up to here was a long-standing kind of profession as a personal trainer for at least the last 10 years. And before that, played a lot of sport, but I was also quite one of those accident injury prone children, which led me on the pathway of studying the human body. So studying lots of yoga, studying lots of modalities to heal myself. And then lo and behold, it helped me heal others. So it's brought me here today from, experiencing a lot of these injuries and ailments as a kid through my teenage years. And then I went to university and went to fix myself, and it's led me to fixing and helping other people fix themselves.
Well, I know that I've experienced you on a one-on-one basis in the clinics that you work at, and you've made a profound difference to my health, and that's one of the motivations I've had to bring you on this platform so that other people can get to know what I consider one of Australia's best kept secrets. Jake, you are a very passionate person. What are some of the key moments in your life that have stood out that have really catapulted you into this? Because I find a common theme with a lot of people I'm interviewing, because a lot of our interviews haven't been airplayed yet, but a lot of the people I speak to, they've had some personal crisis in their life, be it on any realm, and it's catapulted them to major in that area. I, for myself, had some certain struggles, and it's led me to here because after I spent a lifetime sorting out stuff for myself, I thought, hey, I've got a whole library here I can help other people with. So what are some of the key defining moments in your life that have stood out?
So, great question. There's a few. One of the ones I've already spoken about is having a few injuries myself and wanting to fix myself, and then becoming, I suppose, one of the healthiest and strongest and in the most minimal amount of pain and dysfunction that I've ever experienced in my life. Once I achieved that through kind of going through my own studies and talking to people and, seeing a few other allied health professions to really get on top of my own health, that was kind of a key moment of going, this stuff works. And then vicariously through other people and giving that service to them as well, and there's been a few moments that someone's come back to me and they've gone, Jake, I've seen a few people, and what you've given me is actually, that's been the little life-changing bit of information that's really changed my life. And now from every moment from when I saw you moving forwards, my life has been so there's a few moments that have been either in less pain. Someone said, I'm able to do things now that I haven't been able to do for the last 20 years. Or I haven't felt this good about my own body and my own physical function, my own health for like the last 15, 20 years. And those were some of the conversations that really hit home to me that, one, what I'm doing is helping. And two, what I'm doing with people is also pretty much, it's moving both of us forwards in our lives in a positive direction. And I get a sense of purpose that what I'm doing is actually, I think, right. So, it's basically, in a nutshell, it gives me a sense of purpose, helping other people and helping them to achieve their full potential in their own health and well-being.
Well, the amazing thing that I find is you know, of course, a lot about my background. We've spent a fair bit of time together over the last year and a half in the clinic and working together. I have got personal trainers and chiropractors and a whole array of people that look in on my health. I'm headed up to 68, and it's people like you that have kept me in good shape and kept me on the path. But I actually stumbled onto you by accident walking down the local street, and I found a clinic and I wandered in out of curiosity. You have really impacted some of the things you just said about things I can do now that I haven't been able to do for 20 years. I had back pain, ankle pain, knee pain, neck pain. I was like, a walking bucket of injury. But now I'm in better shape than I was 20, 30 years ago. And what are some of the common issues that you assist people with? Because I'm not probably typical of some of the chronic conditions you get, even though I had a lot of pains and aches. So they weren't at a high level. Otherwise, I mightn't have been able to come back from where I have. But some people that I've witnessed you treating, it's really brought tears to my eyes to see the changes that you can make in their lives. I'm a recipient of that, but I'm more impressed with what I've seen you do with others that have had more serious debilitating conditions that I've had. So what are some of the common issues that you assist people with?
So in a nutshell, the common theme of what I do with people is education. So it's promoting a sense of competence and autonomy about another person's life. So they come in and they're a bit confused about potentially why they're sitting with their current level of pain, function, dysfunction. Something's not working there. They've got a problem. Okay, they come in. If they didn't have a problem, they wouldn't usually come and see me. Usually someone comes and sees me and Jake, I've got this problem. I'm trying to fix it. Can you help? And the best thing that I've done with people and what I do time and time again is, one, it's now our problem and we will help each other fix it. So it's a two-way conversation. And it's not necessarily they come to me and I will fix you. It is they come to me and go, I'm going to educate you and myself around this condition. And I'm going to help you by giving you lots of tools, by giving you lots of tips, tricks, and I'm going to educate your mind, your body on what's currently happening with you and how you can overcome it. Okay, so it's more giving the power back to the individual, and whether someone comes in and they've sprained their ankle, okay, we'll do a few assessments. We'll see how strong, how flexible, how much balance, how much awareness their mind and body has over that injury, whether it's a knee, could be a knee sprain, could be a torn muscle, could be a sore lower back, could be someone coming in with being overweight or diabetes, or someone that's had a heart attack in the past. One, I'll assess, what's their level of knowledge of it, okay? And two, we will go through and educate us about the condition and how they can best treat it from now on, okay? Because very, very rarely I can, do a few things and say, yep, tick, fixed, you are 100% better, off you go into the rest of your life. Very, very rarely, 99 times out of 100, that's not the case. It's more of helping someone deal with what they've got and also live the rest of their life with the knowledge now of how to look after themselves.
Well, one of my passions is raising consciousness and awareness in myself and others, and then particularly in the area of health. And what I found unique with you is that I guess when you go to health practitioners such as doctors and chiropractors, you get treated. And what I find a problem with that model is it's sort of like an external responsibility for your health. You're going to someone else to get some methodology. You really place the responsibility back on the individual, which is awesome. And you do it in such a way, it doesn't seem burdensome. It's sort of covert, but all of a sudden you'll say to me things like, well, what did you do last time, Freddie? Well, why don't you write it down? So you're making me take responsibility so that I'm my own health practitioner. You're raising my awareness and consciousness about the exercises, what they do, how they do it. When you go to a personal trainer, they seem to just instruct you. They might give you a few hints around it, but they're exceptional personal trainers that have done extra stuff. people who have studied for a long time. And I know in your industry, the pathway is a bachelor's degree in exercise science, and then the postgrad master's degree for exercise physiology. And I don't think people really understand how profound an exercise physiologist is, because when I've visited physios, and I'm not putting them down in any way, physios have a great place, and I've attended physios and I've enjoyed physios, but usually they're not coming alongside you and building the relationship. I think the 3 personal trainers I have, plus yourself, they all build personal relationships, and they're all intimately interested in the holistic part of your life. They inquire into how you're going mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationally. And in that capacity, it's a holistic situation. Now, I know with the way that you've been instructing me to exercise, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed I come across you, because I've been through 100 or so practitioners of various health modalities, and I've had to let a lot of them go by the wayside because I quickly outgrow them. I'll never outgrow you. You're passionate about what you do, and you're a specialist. So I handle people from all spectrums of life and all ages, but we talk about niche markets and target markets and things like that. One of the things that I find as a mature age person is it's sad that I hang with a lot of people your age and like young people, and people find that a little bit confusing. Why don't you spend a lot of time with people your own age? I do. But what I find is a lot of people my age don't have the belief that they can be young again, that they can really get out there and do things. Now, I realised, because I wanted to help people my age, say the 50 to 70 range, I wanted to help those people get a new lease on life. And when I discovered you and the people we collaborate with, there are the practitioners in our circle of influence that are amazing. And we do the collaboration with myotherapy, and we have other issues there where we can help people through a whole lot of referral stuff. But what is it specifically about the mature age people that you see the challenges and the way that they can be helped? Because my heart goes out to people in the 55, 60 range, and they've got the walking frames, and some of them can turn it all around, and some of them have got to the point where they've just left it a little bit late, and the last part of their life isn't going to be pleasant. Now, I know in my case, I'm fortunate. I've got good genes. My dad lived till 97. He was 4th in the world for swimming. But the thing is, it's still my responsibility to embrace that legacy. So what do you see for mature age people, their challenges and their opportunities are?
Really, really good question. And this could be a very long conversation, but I will answer this as succinctly as possible, because first and foremost, I'm always learning, and I will never know the true 100% accurate answer to this question. And if anyone claims they do, run the other way. And basically, from my experience, and from my experience with others, and you mentioned it before, is taking ownership. So working with myself, I help the other person realize that they are in control of their own life. And if I give them some tools to help, one, alleviate their pain, get a little bit stronger, fitter in their own mind about what they define their own health and fitness as, because I have my own definition of what's healthy and fit. Someone else will have their own definition of what's healthy and fit. And usually the definition is associated with, what's your goal? What do you want your life to be like? What do you want out of this life? So when we understand that, and usually, in the age bracket that you mentioned, 55 to 70, 80, 90, extending the life beyond that, there is something that is going to be the downfall, and it's going to take us all. Okay, we're not going to live forever. Something's going to kill us. And what I find is, what's very, very strange is some people, they don't necessarily, they've kind of forgotten to take ownership and they've forgotten to look after themselves to an extent, and realize that there is a wealth of information out there from other allied health practitioners, from, with the internet these days. So there is, most likely you could predict what's going to be your downfall. There is a very strong predictor of what could potentially kill you. And usually, you mentioned it before, genetics, that plays a big factor. That does play a big factor with certain conditions, but also your beliefs and your behaviors. And usually that comes from who raised you or who you spend your time with. So a very strong predictor, and a question that I ask everyone that comes in the age bracket between 55 and 70 in here is, how's the health of your parents? And if they're no longer with us, what was their downfall? Because that's one of the strong predictors of your downfall, because you develop all your beliefs and behaviors off your parents. And lo and behold, if your eating habits, your exercise habits, your habits around health, nutrition, rest and sleep and activity levels are based upon your parents, you'll end up having a very similar physique, fitness level and physiology to your parents. You'll have a very similar microbiome too. If the gut bacteria, the bacteria in your body, outside your body. So you will have a human body that is very similar to your parents, and you will there is a strong predictor of what takes them is what's going to take you, within reason. I understand that there are some outliers with this. And then if you look at the top 4 killers of people in the world, the cardiovascular disease, which is number 1, the health of your heart, your blood vessels and your lungs. That is the number 1 killer. That having a heart attack, having a stroke, something to do with the blood vessels, something to do with the heart, the lungs, is usually what's going to take us. The second one is cancers. And the third one is going to be respiratory diseases. And the last one is dementia. Okay, mm-hmm. So if they're the top 4 of what you're most likely going to die of, we know that. Okay, and yes, there's outliers. Not everyone dies from one of those. Accidents and everything can happen. But we also can screen for every single one of them and know if that's starting to happen in our body before it actually comes apparent. So 1, we can screen for all of them. 2, we can take interventions that help reduce the risk of those right now, through exercise, through medical intervention, cancers, through surgeries, through chemos, through all of these different things. We can help, 1, screen for it to catch it early. 2, interventions to help kind of extend your healthy lifespan. And I mean healthy lifespan, not just lifespan, because if you're in a poor state of health, why on earth would you want to live in pain for an extra 20 years? So healthy lifespan is living in a healthy way longer. And then the other ones, the respiratory diseases, the dementias and stuff, there's lots of stuff coming around brain training, the health of your brain, the omega-3s, the nutritional aspect. So all of this information is out there. But when I see someone between the ages of 55 and 70, that one of these 4 top killers are slowly creeping into their life, I help educate them that, 1, we should take all these measures of screening you against all of these things and taking all those interventions to help decrease your risk of having a negative turn towards one of these top 4 killers. And if it's not one of those top 4 killers, usually it's something else like a fall or something like that. Because in that population, balance and strength and a fall usually starts that process. And it's more about helping them become apparent to it, increasing their knowledge on it, taking ownership of it, and then giving them the tools to really get on top of their own life and improve their own health and wellness and live a happier, longer, healthier life. So, and that's pretty much what I aim to, and my intention is with everyone that walks in the door here.
Well, it's really interesting that I find when people talk about health, they have a very narrow bandwidth of understanding, and you've got to exercise. Well, intelligently, contextually, and maturely. Otherwise, if you're just exercising for the sake of exercise, you can dissipate a lot of time and energy and not get a result. You can exacerbate injuries, and you can actually go backwards. So exercising with intelligence and good direction is important. Now, most people stream off to a personal trainer. Big challenge there sometimes. And I've got a lot of respect for good personal trainers, but I'm also concerned that there are people out there in that industry that have minimal training that could be a couple of months, couple of weeks, couple of months, and they've got a job in personal training, and they could be operating outside their scope of practice. The other thing too is the combination of nutrition. And I think when I see people in gyms and on treadmills and working out, and I realise that their diet has to be out of whack. And I'm not talking about natural obesity where people have a hormonal imbalance or things like that. It's where through the lack of just awareness, the obesity is there, and that's going to exacerbate knee injuries and lower back and the whole gamut. And then you find people say, yeah, look, I hit the gym every day and I'm eating really well. And I say, but are you sleeping? They just haven't got the big four, the hydration, which is important, the sleep, the structured and sensible wise exercise, and of course the nutrition. When they've got that holism there, I think with exercise physiology, you put the exercise in context, because I don't think people realise they should be doing something on a daily basis. Now, that scares a lot of people. They go, I haven't got time. But they're in so much overwhelm. A huge chunk of their time, which could be devoted like 5 minutes in the day sometimes just to keep the habit going. What's your thoughts on routines and patterns there, for people's behaviour towards their health?
Yeah, so you've mentioned a few things there, and I think one of the main things that kind of keeps arising in this conversation is your habits, your beliefs, your behaviours, your habits, and are those conducive to your health? Are your habits serving you? So your level of physical activity, and you mentioned health, and health can be, is it the health of your physiology, your physical health? Is it the health of your mental health, your intellectual health, your financials? You mentioned lots of these different areas of health, but if we're talking specifically about the human physiology, and this is where we can really get down to the nooks and crannies of it, and alluding to what's potentially going to be our downfall and what you're currently sitting with. So if you're got a habit that isn't necessarily serving you, one is have to be a reflective process. So you have to step back from your life, look at your life, and actually just sit there and go, what's working for me? What's not working for me? And what am I confused about? Because if you can't answer the question, what is working for me and what's not working for me, and if you look at a certain area of your life and you're actually confused about it, and you go, I actually don't know if that's good or bad for my health and for the goals and for the life that I want to live, then that's where you might need to have a conversation with someone else and get someone else to prompt you with some questions, whether that's a health coach, whether it's a life coach, whether it's an exercise physiologist, whether it's a doctor, physiotherapist, that's why we're here. We're here to help, and we're helped to ask the questions that you aren't necessarily asking yourself or prepared to ask yourself yet. So we might be able to bring about things that you're like, oh, actually, yeah, that habit isn't serving my health and well-being right now, and it's not serving the life that I want to live. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be eating, fast food 3 times a week. I was thinking I should be doing it, but actually now that someone's, actually brought it to the forefront and going, that's the reason why you're not achieving your goals, or that's the reason why your blood lipids are still high, that's the reason why you still have high blood pressure, is because 1, you're not doing this, 2, you are doing that, and we need to slowly change those habits. And it's acknowledging those habits, it's getting on top of those habits, it's having that reflective process, and it is taking ownership of your own life. So life is happening for you, not to you. Because if you just say, okay, I've been dealt a bad set of cards, that is a way of thinking that is a victim mindset, and that's not going to move you forwards. Always sitting in that victim mindset. It's more, yes, okay, I've been dealt these bad cards, but also I can choose to play that game, or I can say, I'm going to walk away from the table and take the rest of the chips that I've got with me, and I'm going to invest those chips in a game that is, maybe conducive and something that I actually want to play. And that's, maybe talking with an allied health professional or, a life coach or something like that. So it's about developing those habits. And again, you said before, like, developing the sleep, the hydration, the exercise. Like the reason why we have a human body, the reason why we have a brain, we have limbs, is to move. Otherwise, we would just be floating blobs of jellyfish still in the ocean. So literally the reason why we have bodies is to move. And it's usually when we stop moving and stop using our bodies in these wonderful ways that they're designed to do, is when we start to lose the ability of the body's capacity to, be strong, be fit, feel great. So yeah, I think it's looking at those habits and where are the habits serving you or where are they not? And then it's going from there to change them. And if you don't know how to change them, it's asking others for help. And the last thing is, it's a journey. It's a journey. No one knows the exact answer for you. Everyone is different. And I would say try a few things and you will know within a few weeks whether that's working or not. And you said before, you've seen people in the gym for years and years that just seem like they're doing the same thing over and over again. And they are doing everything in terms of their habits right, except for one thing. They're not reflecting and going, is it working? Okay, because I'm sure the gym is healthy for them. I'm sure they're eating healthy. But if they actually reflect and go, is this achieving what I want to achieve? Is it increasing my muscle mass? Well, are you measuring your muscle mass? That's reflecting on it. Are you measuring your muscle mass? Are you getting stronger? Could you lift this weight this, year or month? And what can you lift 2 months later? If it's the exact same thing, maybe you're not doing something right. Okay, and if your aim was to progress, and sometimes our aim is to progress. Sometimes our aim is to maintain our level, and sometimes our aim is something different. But it is what gets measured gets managed. And are you measuring things? Are you reflective on your habits, and are they conducive to the goals that you want to achieve and the life that you want to live?
Thank you, Dan. That's quite comprehensive answer. I really appreciate that. So I feel there's just so much more that you can offer, so we'll get you back again in the future and we'll target some specific areas. So if someone was listening and there was one thing they would take away, what do you think that should be that they should take away from this interview?
I think the main thing to take away is having a look at your own life and looking at the different areas of your life and kind of giving them a little bit of an intent, like sitting back and thinking on the areas that are working for you and not working for you. And then what do you want to change? Like ask yourself that question. Is there anything that you would like to change in your life? Because I'm assuming if someone watches this video, they want to get a learning out of it, and potentially you might have a problem to do with your human physiology that you want to get stronger or fitter or something. So I would say, I don't know what you want to change. Only you know that. And first of all, acknowledge what you would like to change. And then 2, set some achievable outcome measures and set a process and start to engage in the process of changing those habits and those beliefs around that. And if you don't know how to do that, that is fine. It's just about starting the process, starting the conversation, and starting to change things in a way to live a healthier and longer life, really.
Well, my speciality is counselling, coaching, training, consulting, things like that. But I adopted the health arena because I myself did exactly that self-evaluation. And one of the things I said to myself is, I'm tired of dragging my sorry ass through life. I was in pain and I felt limited. I felt exhausted, overweight. I had a lot of challenges. So the journey and the decision I made to take responsibility changed everything. And then people saw me a year or 2 later when I started the process. They go, oh my God, you've changed so much. And one guy said, what have you do? And I want it. And I said, he said, what's your secret? I said, I could tell you, but I have to kill you. And I said, I have to kill you in the gym. I have to kill you, at the kitchen table. You've got to change your lifestyle and your habits to get these results. So that's fantastic. We certainly, there's a lot in this for people, Jake, and I really am grateful for you offering up your time to do this interview. And I just I know you touch and affect many lives. So if people do reach out and want to connect with you, what's the best way to find you and talk to you about some possible support that they may need?
Yeah, so I have a website, jakeholness.com. So that's pretty much just my name. On Instagram too, a lot of people reach out on Instagram, and those two really are the only things that I have out there. And there's a little bit of information on both of those kind of platforms for people. And the Instagram is JAKEY, and then my last name, Holness, HOLNESS. So that's my Instagram, Jakey Holness, or the website. And there's a few articles on the website. I'm only quite new to it all, but there is some solid information there that if you engage with it, I'm sure you're going to learn something. I hope you learn something, because I don't want to waste your time with engaging with that material. So I put a lot of heart and effort into creating a little bit of those snippets for those that wanted to engage with it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your precious time and your insights. And I look forward to doing more with you in the clinic and in life as well. And thank you so much for everything, and even the support you give me in my health. So.
Awesome. Thanks heaps, Freddie. Thanks for having me.